So if you missed that quick check, here is the answer. The slope is 1/2. The 0 is x1. The 5 is y1. So when we put this into point slope form, this should be the setup. So that was the first part of the answer. The second part of the answer is distribute the 1/2. Of course, anything times 0 is 0, which you technically don't even really need to put that 0. But I'm going to, and that's because the last step is add 5 to both sides. And we get our equation, which is y equals, by itself, 1/2 x plus 5. All right, so now let's look at one other type of example. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to write an equation of a line in point slope form first. And then we're going to do it in slope intercept. The only difference in this problem you'll notice is we have 2 points, but we don't have a slope. And as you recall, obviously, to be able to use point slope form, you have to know the slope. The good news is we can find slope because we know the formula for slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And we have 2 x's and we have 2 y's. So I'm going to call this second point my x2, y2, and this first point my x1, y1. And then I'm going to find the slope. I'm going to insert those numbers into the formula. So it's 0 minus a -8 on the top. And on the bottom, it is 2 minus 5. Of course, that minus a negative, since they're back to back like that, becomes a +8. On the bottom, 2 minus 5 is -3. So there is my slope. We want to leave that as a fraction. Don't write it as a mixed number. It can't be reduced. It's kind of a weird fraction, but that's okay. So there is my slope, and it does not matter which one of these points is your x1, y1. So technically, even though we called this x2, y2, we could use the point 2, 0 when we use point slope form. It really does not matter. You're going to get the same answer either way. And now the setup is exactly like the previous problems, now that we know what the slope is. We have a point and we have a slope. So it's y minus y1. I'm just going to rewrite the form before I write the answer. So it's y minus -8 equals the slope, which is -8/3. Remember, you can put that negative sign with the 8, with the 3, or in the middle. Doesn't really matter. And in the parentheses, it's x minus +5. So that is point slope form, although we could change that minus a negative to a +8. That is point slope form. And now, again, to put it in slope intercept, we just need to solve this for y. So I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to distribute the -8/3. So -8/3 times x is just -8/3 x. If you struggle with fractions, so we need to multiply -8/3 times -5. So go to your graphing calculator, hit alpha, y equals number 1. Alpha, y equals number 1, and you get this fancy fraction. Remember, you can put that negative sign with the 8 or the 3, or you can put it in the middle. It doesn't matter. We're multiplying -8/3 times -5. Make sure you use the negative sign down here at the bottom underneath the 3 key. and we get 40 thirds. We want to write that as a fraction. And then finally, subtract 8 from both sides, because remember, we're solving for y. So slope-intercept form is -8 thirds x. And again, I'm going to pull out the calculator because we need to do 40 thirds minus 8. So alpha y equals number 1. Type in 40 thirds. And I am subtracting 8. Whatever that is, that will finish off slope-intercept form. So both of these equations represent the same line, just written in a couple of different ways. Pause the video here in about 10 seconds. I'm going to show you the slope, and then another 10 seconds, I'm going to show you the final answer. So the slope should be +1/2. Pause the video again if you want to try to do the rest of this problem on your own. Again, it doesn't matter. I'm going to use this point, and obviously this is my slope, but it doesn't matter. You can pick 2, 4 as well. All right, and then here is the rest of the answer. So there's point slope, and here is slope intercept.